Hong Kong Direct is your weekly magazine show, delivering to you the best of everything that is Hong Kong racing, as anticipation is well and truly at fever pitch as we count down to the first meeting coming up of the 2022-23 racing season on Sunday at Sha Tin. And on the show this week, as we build up to the first meeting, we've got the man they call SDS, that is Silvestre de Sousa. He's back here in Hong Kong, a former Longines International Jockeys Championship winner and a Hong Kong Cup winning jockey. He's back in town to rekindle relationships with trainers from his past. Jamie Richards, the new boy on the block here in Hong Kong, the Kiwi trainer now calling Hong Kong home. He is here to join us on the show as well. Terrific to have you here on Hong Kong Direct this week as we count down to meeting number 1 of 88 in Hong Kong, with the big meeting coming up on Sunday at Sha Tin. It's Chief Executives Cup Day. But let's have a look at a few facts for the season. 88 meetings we had last year. That's what we've got scheduled this year, with 836 races run last year. Turnover last year was an eye-watering $140 billion, $1.62 billion in prize money, more than ever before. HKIR Day coming up early in December, 110 million there. 65 million across our other international day, that is FWD Champions Day. Zach Purton was able to overhaul Joe Moreira last season to become a 5-time champion jockey here in Hong Kong with 136 winners last season. And Frankie Law, who hasn't been a trainer in his own right for too long, he was champion trainer for the first time last season, racking up a terrific 90 wins across the season. So those are a few of our champions. In terms of equine stars, well, the highest and the most brightest of them all is Golden 60, with 21 wins to his name, 6 Group 1 wins and over 113 million in prize money. The champion 4-year-old most improved horse and champion middle distance horse was Romantic Warrior, who was brought through the Hong Kong International Sale. Romantic Warrior there with Karis Teeton. And of the others, the sprinter Wellington, he was terrific last season, Russian Emperor, and a surprise packet towards the end of the season was Lucky Swain S. He goes around at the weekend of the Chief Executives Cup. He was the champion Griffin. First of all, on this week's show, we've got Silvestre de Sousa. He sat down a few days ago to have a chat with Doug Chalmers, our producer, about the upcoming season he stares down here in Hong Kong.
Silvestre de Sousa looking for the championship, and he's got it. Experto Crede takes the final leg.
The champion jockey for this year's Longines International Jockeys Championship is Silvestre de Sousa.
It's like an old backyard stouse between Glorious Forever and Time Warp. Deirdre Late, Glorious Forever has won the cup.
Silvestre, welcome back to Hong Kong. How does it feel to be back here at Sha Tin?
Feels good, and you know, I'm enjoying. I've been doing plenty track work, and basically I just jump in straight away. And in the mornings has been plenty support, you know, track works and trials. So no, I'm delighted to be here anyway, and you know, get stuck in and for a fresh season.
Has anything changed?
Doesn't feel like, you know, the people is very welcome, you know, as usual, and feels like I never left.
Talk to us about the process of coming back. Your contract with King Power in the UK had finished.
Yes.
Was this always the thought process? Was it always to come back to here?
Yes, and you know, 3 years ago, you know, I rode a few winners here, and I rode Glorious Forever, and that's the highlight of my career in Hong Kong, you know. And that stage, I was pinching myself to stay, but I have commitments at home, and that's why I went back. And obviously, I had a contract for 3 years, and things quieting down a bit with numbers of horses, and cover situation was all relevant to this, you know, for the race industry. So we decided to, you know, to finish, and they decided to don't have a retaining jockey for any longer. So, but we finished in a good terms, and you know, it's just they wasn't going to have a retaining jockey because of all them things, you know.
I know the family are back in England. How difficult has it been for you being separated from them and also looking ahead to the future?
Yes, and it's hard when you got, you know, I have 3 kids and 2 small ones, and you know, my old one is 15 and Max is 4, Harry's 3, and it's hard to be away from them when you've been around them, especially for the last 3 years, you know. I felt I was at home more than any other times. And it's difficult, but at the same time, and you know, you have to put up some points, you know.
Your contract here is until the 20th of February. What are the thoughts for the whole season. Would you like to stay here permanently, do you think, or at the moment is it just till February?
That's my goal, you know. That's what I wish, and that's what I'm working hard for, you know. I want to stay longer, and I hope to get the support I'm looking for. And now I'm feeling good, I'm feel happy and in a place, and I just want to get really stuck in with my head down and see how far I can go.
What about you? It's been a while since we saw you. Have you changed at all in terms of your riding style or off the track?
I don't think so, no. I feel like I'm competitive as ever, and always smile, and doesn't matter how things go. And no, like I say, I haven't changed, and you know, still keep the same friends, and you know, and I just hope to build more connections.
Glorious Forever fends off his brother. It's like an old backyard stoush between Glorious Forever and Time Warp. Deirdre late, Glorious Forever. What a day for Frankie Law.
When we look back at your previous time in Hong Kong, you obviously go to 2018. What a special time that was for you. The memories must be really nice to look back on.
Yes, and I was they were showing the highlights the other day, and a racing channel and in UK, and you know, and so now sometimes I pinch myself how well I done. So I feel this time if I could do half what I have did, I'll be pleased with myself, you know.
Is that a racing goal in terms of trying to replicate that success, get on those Group 1 horses and challenge the likes of Joe Moreira and Zach Purton at the top of the jockey's title?
I think, I don't know if I'm able to do that, because you know, they know this track inside out as much I know the track, and I need the horses, you know, and hey, and what I have to say, I'm very competitive with myself, and obviously Zach and Joe is a top riders, and so all the jockeys behind them as well, you know. But I think it's just by luck. If you get a support in the day and if you ride the right horses, you manage to deliver. But you know, my tag is here is to keep everybody happy and ride winners. So, and I'm working hard for that.
It's tremendous to have Silvestre de Sousa back here in Hong Kong, very much a strong ride and a real enforcer. Let's have a look at some of his stats here. Through his Hong Kong career, he's had 91 winners, 99 seconds, 70 thirds from 803 rides here in the jurisdiction, with a win rate of around about 11.3%. So we're thoroughly looking forward to seeing Silvestre back in action at Sha Tin on Sunday. Another newcomer, a younger one, making his debut on Sunday at Sha Tin is Angus Chung. He started his career here with track work and trials, and we caught up with him on Friday morning. Angus, welcome back to Hong Kong. How exciting is it gearing up for your first ride this weekend?
Thank you very much. I'm pretty excited for the first meeting today, on this Sunday. It's probably a little bit excited and nervous for me as well. So I have a couple of trials before, and I can feel a little bit different compared to in Adelaide. So yeah, I'm looking forward to do it.
Quickly give us a rundown on your background. How did you get involved in racing and want to become a jockey?
That's a bit interesting. I was playing a jockey, and yeah, in the some opportunity, I saw the job in Hong Kong Jockey Club, and yeah, I tried to get in the industry, and I love it.
You spent some time in South Australia, as you mentioned before. Who was your boss, mentor down there in Adelaide, and how valuable was that experience for you?
Mr. John O'Connor was my boss in Adelaide. He's lovely, nice boss. Yeah, and he teach me, you know, to use some any other thing to think how to riding, and just care the horses and care all the jockey. What's the jockey thing in the race, and trying to multiple to think all in the race.
You rode 76 winners in South Australia. What was one of your highlights down there?
I probably got 83 right now, because I think, yeah, 83 in the total. So my most important probably like rush away led, yeah, in the big race, and that's in SA Derby Day, so that's pretty excited.
Rush Away Lad in front. Calypso Rain with a late burst, but it's Rush Away Lad to win. You've
been placed with the legend of Hong Kong racing, that is Tony Cruz. What sort of guidance has he been giving you over the last few weeks?
Yeah, he teaches me a lot. You know, he get on the exercise and teach me how to push the horses, and how to jump out the gate effectively. Yeah, it's pretty good under his guide. Yeah.
Have you had good support from other trainers, track work and trials here so far? Good support from the others?
Yeah. The new trainer, the new local trainer, Pierre, gave me very good support, and I wish I can get a winner from him. And also Crystal, David Hayes, yeah, they give me a good opportunity.
Terrific to hear from Angus, and we wish him the best of luck with his 6 rides coming up on Sunday afternoon at Sharton. Up after the break here on Hong Kong Direct, we talk to this man, Jamie Richards, the superstar New Zealand trainer, champion trainer. He's here in Hong Kong, and he's only a matter of weeks away from kicking off. Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct, your weekly magazine show highlighting the best of everything Hong Kong racing. Before we get on to the next segment, don't forget you can check out our other show, which is Racing to Win, a preview of each and every race for Sharton and also Happy Valley, as well as an in-depth preview of the 2 main races from those venues. They're up on the website the day prior to the racing in the afternoon, hkjc.com. Click on the audio and video section and you can navigate your way through the show there. One man that is calling Hong Kong home now is Jamie Richards, the New Zealand star trainer. He's been over here in Hong Kong a few months. He's had a busy off-season assembling the troops, but he had time to sit down and weigh in with us here on Hong Kong Direct.
Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Richards. I'm the new trainer, or one of the new trainers in Hong Kong for this season, arriving from New Zealand. I've been here about 3 months now. So I was born into a racing family. My father was a jockey and then trained, so I was around horses from a very early age. Was always sort of fascinated with them, and that's sort of how I became involved. I was quite keen to be a jockey, like my father, but unfortunately my mother's quite tall, so I sort of ended up in no man's land in terms of my height and weight. But I did ride in a few amateur races and enjoy riding track work now. So yeah, that's sort of where it all started in the South Island of New Zealand, a long way away from here. Yeah, I think probably when we won 2 Group 1s in the space of half an hour at Royal Randwick in Sydney. Tiakau Shark and Probabeel. Tiakau Shark won the Chipping Norton and Probabeel won the Surround for 3-year-old fillies. To go over there and only have 2 horses there at the time and both of them win time on a Group 1s was a pretty special day.
Wide out Tiakau Shark. The Shark's coming for the kill. Tiakau Shark right over the top. Good up to win it from Very Elegant.
I think in the short term, I'd like to try and train a few of the winners that will win a few races with the horses that we've been transferred. Most of the horses are pretty badly out of form, but because they're badly out of form, they're now at a rating where they might be able to be competitive. So in the short term, I'd like to try and see those horses run well. And I guess for the long term, you know, we moved up here to try and mix it with the best, and hopefully in years to come, whether it's 5 or 10 years or whenever it may be, we'd like to try and win a premiership and you know, and win the big races on International Day, and maybe one day we might even have a horse that's good enough to travel and represent, you know, us in Hong Kong on the global scale. So there's a lot of, you know, different goals, but if you were to touch on a couple, perhaps the ones I've just spoken about. If I was to pick one, just as we stand here today, we've got a nice Maurice horse that's having his first trial today. He's called Starfire Gems. He's a PP from Australia. He seems to be a really nice horse. Probably won't be seen at his best until he gets up over a bit of ground, but he's a really nice horse that we like, and hopefully he might be able to do a bit of a job for us in the second half of the season. I guess you sort of grew up in New Zealand watching Lance O'Sullivan ride. He was the gun rider, and You know, there was the big trainers as well. So yeah, I would say that I've watched and learnt you know, a number of different things. I guess when I was first starting to train, I spent a lot of time on the internet watching what Chris Waller did with his horses in Australia. He's obviously, you know, done a fantastic job in Sydney, and you know, will continue to dominate there for the foreseeable future. So racing heroes, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but there's certainly different people that I've looked up to and tried to model myself on, I guess. When I was training in New Zealand, it was pretty much 365 days of the year, 7 days a week, so there wasn't really a lot of time for outside activities. But since I've arrived here in Hong Kong, I've had a few golf lessons and learnt how to swing a club. So hopefully we might be able to get out on the fairways when the temperature cools down a little bit more. But I think if you want to be really successful in racing, you've got to make it your hobby. And fortunately, as the old saying goes, you know, if you pick an industry and do something that you love, then you never have to work a day in your life, and that's very relevant here in this setting. Really enjoy being with the horses and training the horses, and looking forward to the season ahead.
An outstanding addition to the trainers' ranks here in Hong Kong is Jamie Richardson. I'm sure he will make a great fist of whatever he does here in Hong Kong. Here's a few of his stats so far. Now, this is only his New Zealand record. He's had a number of winners in Australia as well, group and listed winners, but 739 winners there. Group and listed races, 136 from just under 4,000 odd starters, and a win rate getting up towards 20%, 18.7. But that is just his New Zealand record, but impressive numbers there from Jamie Richards. So we wish Jamie all the best in the coming weeks with his runners that he will step out here in Hong Kong. And it's wonderful to have Leo Schlink here with us on Hong Kong Direct this week, the Chief Racing Editor for the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Leo, wonderful to have you on off the back of what was another incredible season for the Jockey Club last year.
Thanks, Tom. Yes, it was. It was a fantastic season, lots of great memories, and looking forward to Sunday when we kick off again.
Yeah, there's plenty to look forward to, all right. So we've got more stake money. The club has put up 1.62 billion, I think the number off the top of my head. But we've also got new additions to the training and the jockey ranks here. First of all, we'll start on the trainers, Pierre Ung and also Jamie Richards. And Pierre coming out with a flyer this week with two runners in the Chief Executives Cup.
Yeah, so Lucky Patch and Duke Y, he gets off to a flyer. Jamie won't be involved in the first meeting, but it's going to be really interesting to see how Pierre goes. He's very much a product of Hong Kong racing and also world racing, and he gets off to a flyer potentially with a number of runners, and he's got two in the feature, as you say, Tom, and be really interesting to see how they go.
He's got a great background here in Hong Kong racing as well. Of course, his father was a trainer, Peter Ung, but as you mentioned, Leo, he's been around the world to gain that experience, and he's also had that experience here in Hong Kong, particularly with John Size and also Francis Law, especially around Golden 60.
He's been around some great horses in his time, Golden 60, Aero Velocity with Paul O'Sullivan as well, and also that time with John Size, and all the overseas education and grounding that he's had. You can't really think of a better pathway to come into Hong Kong racing, and of course there's nowhere to hide now. He's the head trainer, and he's mentioned it through the week that the nerves are starting to kick in a bit. He's going to knock on that door on Sunday, and he's hoping it's going to open.
Quickly, a couple of the new jockeys in town. We've got a name that we know, Silvestre de Sousa. He's back. He's a real enforcer of the jockeys' room. But on the younger side, Angus Chung, who had great success down in South Australia.
He did well down there, and working with John O'Connor, living up in the Barossa Valley for a time, and a great grounding for him. And he comes across as a really impressive young man. And we're better to learn the craft of riding in Hong Kong than with Tony Cruz. And he's going to get a lot of opportunities with his 10-pound claim. And he gets a shot at it in the Chief Executives Cup, and look, he strikes me as someone who's really well equipped to come into Hong Kong. It's not going to be easy for him, but he's got every chance with that 10-pound allowance.
Absolutely, and being a part of the Tony Cruz stable as well. Last season we saw Zach Purton prevail over Joe Moreira to become a five-time champion. How do you see it potentially playing out this year?
It's going to be interesting. We know that Joe will be absent on Sunday. Zach is coming back, and he rates last season, Tom, as he mentioned to you today, as probably his most satisfying victory in the championship, given what he had to go through coming out of the race accident that he had last December. We know what a great competitor is, and there's a real sense of him having his game face on today, that competitive mask that he wears, and he'll be there as the measuring stick again, and he'll work on the competition, he'll embrace it, and let's see what happens over the next 88 meetings.
For sure. As we stare down the barrel, Leo, of the first meeting, have you picked out a couple of horses for us to follow through the season?
I really like the horses who did well at the end of last season, and of course the obvious ones are Romantic Warrior, California Spangle, two really exciting horses. But in the sprint division, Richard Gibson, he had the champion sprinter last year in Wellington. I think that Cordyceps 6 is a horse that could barely have done any more than what he did. He went from a handicap rating of 60 to 107 from Class 4 to Group 3. I think he's a horse that Richard rightly will have really big expectations of through the season. And I'm also interested in a horse that John Size has, a miler called Tuchel. I think that he's a horse that we can follow as well.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing all those horses step out. I think from memory, Cordyceps 6 might have won on the opening day last season for Tony Picone. Leo, thanks for your time. We look forward to reading all your stories right throughout the season.
Thanks, Tom. Look forward to it.
Here's what we've got coming up in Hong Kong over the next week or so. Of course, we're at Sha Tin on Sunday for the opening meeting of the 2022-23 racing season with the Chief Executives Cup, the main race on the program, coming up at 2:30. First race at 1 p.m. We're on air from 12:30. Wednesday night at Happy Valley for an 8-race card, and then we're back to Sha Tin the following Sunday for 10 races at Sha Tin. That's all to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. We've thoroughly enjoyed your company here on Hong Kong Direct this week. And as we leave you, we look back at last year's Chief Executives Cup, which was won by Naboo Attack. We'll see you next week.
Naboo Attack is midfield, and he's in traffic, the favourite, as they run to the 400-metre mark. Amazing Star, Duke Y between them. Lucky Patch 3 up. Winning Dreamer held up. Now Naboo Attack is out, and his outside is California Rad. The leader, Duke Y. Lucky Patch, Naboo Attack. The big lumps coming at them now. Naboo Attack went past Duke Y and Lucky Patch. Naboo Attack, he came, he commanded, and he conquered. Naboo Attack won it.